Okay, River, it is week 28 in first grade. I almost said kindergarten. Okay, so this week, do you remember you worked with the word families UM, UN, UP, and UT with some of the word families. We played a game where we put UM and then we put letters and you guys made words. Do you remember that?
Yes.
And then with UN, you wrote, show me. At the very top, you wrote the word family, UN, and then can you read those words underneath it?
You mean this one's full?
Yeah. It's upside down. You want to turn it to you and read it?
Wait, is this upside down? I need to tip it over like this.
No. From you, when you look down, it's upside down to you. Do you want to read some of those for me? That's okay. Turn it back around. So can you remember any words that start with un or end with un? What's up in the sky in yellow? Sun. And then you have something else?
Fun.
Good. And then
One.
Good. And it's kind of a funny word. Spun. Like spinning wool. Spun wool. Good. And then for math in week 28, we practiced and went over skip counting with clapping. So, but we didn't write it down. Remember, we did it with our bodies. So I'll clap on my thigh. Remember, 2.
T.
Do you remember? 4.
4.
6. 8.
8.
10.
10.
You do it.
9.
10. 20.
20.
30. 50.
40,
That's okay.
50.
You know, it's okay. Math will get stuck in your head at a later date. Okay. Social studies. You learned about, do you remember the big thing? No, that's perfect. Do you remember Clara Bart, or I'm sorry, what's her name? Who did you learn about?
Clara Barton.
You did. And then who was Clara Barton?
Do
you remember what she does, what that's called?
She helps sick people.
And what kind of a job is that? What's that person called?
A doctor.
Close. A nurse.
A
nurse. So let's get an up close of your picture. So your picture is of Clara Barton, and that's a sick soldier, isn't it? And she's helping him. And then do you remember what you learned about Clara Barton?
Only some of it.
Do you remember, I'm sorry, I can't see you. Do you remember that the gentleman she helped brought her some fruits and some jellies and things? And did she keep them all to herself?
No.
What did she do?
Share them.
She shared them. And so that was, you learned about goods for services, right? So what was Clara's services? What did she do?
She helped people.
Good. And then what goods, and then she received the goods back from that gentleman, which was the fruit and all those special items that she shared with everyone. And then remember, we learned that kind of everywhere you go, it's good for services, right? If you go to Trader Joe's, the folks there, you get their service and then they get paid money. It's kind of how it is now, huh? Okay, then for science, can you, that's the picture. So tell me what that picture's of.
Sink and sink and float and sink.
Yes, because this week you learned about scientific inquiry.
A rock can sink because the rock's really heavy.
Mm-hmm.
A stick can sink because it's kind of medium heavy.
Mm-hmm.
A boat can stay up in the water.
Do you remember that's called floating?
Yes, floating.
Good.
And it eats what it gives you to other way is can float.
The Easter egg, the plastic ones. Now turn, so that was your picture in the bathtub of the things. We didn't use a pot. The bathtub was easier. And then you created a hypothesis. I wrote it for you. Do you remember your hypothesis?
Yes.
Should we read it? River's floating hypothesis. I think something will float because it is less heavy. It will sink because it is kind of heavy. You wrote, my hypothesis was correct, and then you draw an adorable face. I'm going to get up close here, so let's do the top one. Do you want to go through those? So the top one, I forget what that was. Was that the soap?
Yes, the soap could sink.
You thought it was going to float, but it sunk.
Yep.
And then the next, was that the silly putty egg? The red one? And then what did you
that
thought?
could float if you turn like this. If you put it as a way, it could sink.
Right. And then you've got the little man, the little Playmobil man.
Yes.
You thought it would float, but did it float? Or you thought it would sink, but it floated.
Yeah.
And then
That's wood.
the piece of wood. Did you think it would float? No. Did it float? No. So that's your chart that's your will it float chart. And we haven't got the membership to the YMCA yet, right?
Yeah.
But for your exercise this week, we did a beach walk.
Yes.
Do you remember? Was there anything interesting you found on the beach?
Yes. There was a shell. It was big. That little shells on it was attached to it. Then I got it out of the beach. So I found another shell.
Do you want to tell her about that magnificent shell that you picked up? What was it?
Green.
Do you remember what happened to that one shell that you had in your hands? What came out of it?
We were at a beach one day.
Yeah.
And I saw the clam. I saw it was wanted to open his mouth, but it didn't. A big foot came out.
The huge, gigantic white foot came out, and it looked like a big white tongue and swung around, didn't it? It was kind of scary, wasn't it? But that was your science. Sorry, we're doing exercise, but that was a great discovery. Okay, so we ran at the beach. We ran in the backyard. You played on the swings. You went down the slide.
We won.
You did running. Did you play badminton with Kian? I forget with the tennis rackets. No. You jumped on the trampoline.
Yes.
And I think that's it. Do you want to say thank you?
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.